It was exactly 11:58 p.m. when Brenda's SUV slowed down outside our house. She knew I wasn't home. She always knew. For 4 years, we had ignored her little power games. We didn't attend HOA wine nights. We didn't flatter her at meetings. We paid our dues on time and stayed quiet. That alone was enough to offend her. At 12:03 a.m., the knock came. Not a polite knock, a commanding one. My wife looked at the clock. Midnight. She thought it was me at first. But when she checked the door camera app on her phone, it glitched. Camera offline. She frowned. That camera had been acting strange for weeks. She cracked the door open with the chain still on. And there she was. Brenda, early 50s, blonde bob haircut, expensive blazer, perfect lipstick. That smug smile. Behind her stood 2 men in dark uniforms labeled Community Compliance Unit. Not police, no official badges. Just imitation authority. Brenda tilted her head. Evening. We're here for an emergency inspection. My wife blinked. At midnight? Brenda's smile tightened. We've received multiple complaints. About what? Property standards. We'll need full interior access. My wife immediately shook her head. My husband isn't home. This isn't a reasonable hour. And what complaints? Brenda's eyes changed. That small shift. Ego bruised. You're refusing compliance. I'm asking what this is about. Brenda stepped closer to the door. Move aside. No. That word echoed louder than it should have. Brenda turned to the 2 uniformed men. She's obstructing an inspection. One of them stepped forward and pushed the door hard enough to snap the chain lock. My wife stumbled back. Before she could react, one of the men grabbed her arm and moved her aside. Not violently, but firmly. Enough to shock her. They walked in, just like that. Brenda entered slowly, like she owned the place. She looked around with exaggerated disgust. Oh my. This is worse than I expected. It wasn't. Our home was clean, normal, lived in. But Brenda didn't care about reality. She walked into the living room and began opening drawers. The men followed, pulling open cabinets. Kitchen, bathroom, closets. They weren't inspecting, they were invading. Brenda opened the master bedroom closet and began throwing clothes onto the floor. This is clutter. She walked into the guest bathroom and lifted the lid of the toilet. Unsanitary. She opened kitchen cabinets and pulled out spice containers, letting them spill across the counter. Poor maintenance. My wife kept repeating, voice shaking, "This is illegal. You can't do this. This isn't allowed." Brenda turned slowly. Illegal. Sweetheart, you don't get to lecture me about illegal. She walked closer. You've ignored HOA community engagement for 4 years. You think you're above the rules? My wife's voice broke. We pay everything on time. We don't cause problems. That's exactly the problem, Brenda said coldly. You don't participate. This wasn't about violations. It was about ego. For years ago, during a routine inspection, we allowed her inside. She had made small comments about presentation and community spirit. We never played along. We kept our distance. We didn't flatter her. She never forgot that. For 2 hours, they turned our house upside down. Drawers emptied, clothes thrown, bathroom cabinets opened, kitchen items scattered. Brenda walked room to room like a queen inspecting servants' quarters. My wife eventually stopped arguing. She stood in the hallway, silent, tears forming, humiliated in her own home. At 1:57 a.m., Brenda gathered her folder. Well, she said brightly, I've seen numerous violations. She smiled, satisfied. You'll receive notice in the morning. And then they left. At 2:04 a.m., I pulled into the driveway. Brenda's SUV was just turning the corner. She slowed slightly when she saw me. Rolled down her window. Smiled. Just a routine inspection, she said casually. You stay here at 2 a.m. She shrugged. Community standards don't sleep. She drove off. I walked inside and froze. Drawers open, clothes everywhere. Kitchen a mess, and my wife sitting on the floor crying. That's when something inside me snapped. Because Brenda didn't know something. She hadn't done her homework. She thought I worked a basic corporate job. She thought we were ordinary. She thought we had no leverage. She thought that broken front camera meant no recording. She was wrong. Very wrong. At 8 a.m., the violation notice arrived by email. Subject line, severe noncompliance. Bathroom hygiene issues. Kitchen sanitation concerns. Improper closet storage. Paint irregularities. Fabricated. All of it. I read it twice. Then I smiled, not because it was funny, because it confirmed everything. She believed she had power. But she had just committed multiple crimes. Impersonation of law enforcement, forced entry, harassment, destruction of property. And she did it confidently because she thought we were harmless. She thought we were weak. She thought we didn't document. But while the door camera was offline, the internal security system wasn't. I don't talk about my work. I don't show it. But I work in federal security operations. Surveillance is my field. Redundancy is basic practice. The hallway smoke detector, camera, the living room air vent. Camera, the backup unit. Better report, hidden, encrypted cloud storage. For 2 hours, everything was recorded. Every word. Every drawer thrown. Every insult. Every fake officer touching my wife. I kissed her forehead and told her one thing. Trust me, by 10 a.m., I was at the HOA office. Brenda was inside, confident as ever. She looked up and smiled. You received the notice. Yes, I said calmly. And I'd like to file a formal complaint. Her smile faded slightly. Against yourself. The room got quiet. I placed a tablet on the desk. Press play. Audio first, her voice clear as day. She's obstructing inspection. Then video, her ordering the men inside. Her throwing clothes, her saying, you think you're above the rules. The color drained from her face. The board members looked stunned. One of them whispered, that's not authorized. I leaned forward. You conducted a forced entry without legal authority. Those men are not law enforcement. You impersonated authority. You destroyed property. You harassed my wife. Brenda tried to speak. I cut her off calmly. I've already forwarded copies to my attorney and to the county office. Silence. Real silence. Not the kind she created. The kind that follows consequences. She had spent 4 years trying to prove power. And in one night, she destroyed herself. Because arrogance makes people sloppy. And she underestimated the wrong house. This was never about trash bins or paint, or participation. It was about control. But control without accountability collapses. Within weeks, an internal investigation began. The fake officers, contracted private guards with no authority. The emergency inspection, not approved. Brenda resigned before she could be removed. The violations were voided, and the HOA sent a formal written apology. But the real victory wasn't legal. It was this. My wife walked through our house again without fear. She slept peacefully. She smiled again. Because dignity restored is louder than revenge. Brenda thought midnight was her power hour. She thought humiliation would teach us a lesson. She was right about one thing. It did teach a lesson, just not to us. It taught her that some doors should never be kicked open, and some people should never be underestimated.